Walburga Oesterreich. Walburga Horschel was born in Germany in 1880. As a young woman, she moved to Wisconsin. Life was tough for her on the farm until she met and married Fred Oesterreich. Fred was the wealthy owner of an apron factory in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He was a very serious man who worked hard and drank harder. He spent more time at the bar with his friends than he did at home with Walburga, who everyone called Dolly. In autumn 1913, Dolly called Fred and told him that her sewing machine had broken. She knew that Fred would send over 17-year-old sewing machine repairman Otto Songhuber. When Otto arrived, he was greeted at the door by Dolly, wearing nothing but a silk robe and stockings. The two began an affair, but Fred became suspicious. Then Dolly came up with a plan. She convinced Otto to quit his job at the apron factory and move into her attic. For the next 5 years, he spoke to no one but Dolly. When Fred would come home in the evenings, Otto would spend his time reading novels that Dolly had checked out for him at the library and writing stories for pulp magazines. Otto's presence did not go completely unnoticed. Believing that either their house was haunted or that he was going a bit crazy, Fred decided to move from Milwaukee to Los Angeles, California. Dolly's only request was that the new house also have an attic. Dolly sent Otto to Los Angeles first. The lovers were reunited when Dolly and Fred moved in. Fred purchased a new factory and life continued as usual until August 22, 1922. Dolly and Fred went to a party that evening, but got into an argument and left early. The two returned home, still fighting, and Otto began to get worried for Dolly's safety. Suspecting that Fred might get violent, Otto came down from the attic with two .25 caliber revolvers and shot Fred 3 times. Dolly had to act fast. She had Otto secure her in the closet and lock the door from the outside. He then took Fred's diamond watch and the guns and returned to his room in the attic. Neighbors heard the shots and called the police. They suspected that Dolly was involved, but they could not locate the murderer or weapon. Dolly inherited her husband's small fortune, sold the house, and bought a new one. She and Otto were now free to live a normal life, but instead they chose to continue on as before. Dolly lived in the house, and Otto took up residence in the attic. Dolly hired lawyer Herman Shapiro to manage her dead husband's estate, and the two became lovers. During the time that Dolly was in a relationship with both Herman and Otto, she took a third lover, Roy Klum. In 1923, Dolly broke things off with Roy. In revenge, he went to the police and told them everything he knew about the murder. Dolly was arrested. With no one to care for Otto, Dolly sent Herman to her house. She told him to take food to her vagabond half-brother. He was to knock 3 times on the ceiling in the bedroom closet. Otto came down and told Herman every detail of his 20-year-long affair with Dolly. Herman told him to get out and never come back. Otto fled to Canada. Without enough evidence to hold her, they let Dolly go. In 1930, Herman went to the police and told them everything. They arrested Dolly again. Otto had recently returned from Canada, and he was arrested also. Otto was found guilty of manslaughter, but the statute of limitations for the crime had expired a year before the trial, and the court had no choice but to set him free. Otto left Los Angeles, changed his name, and married. Dolly went on trial next. The jurors could not agree, and the trial resulted in a hung jury. The case was left open for several years, but eventually they decided not to try the case again. Dolly began a relationship with a man named Ray Hedrick. The two dated for 30 years and lived a rather unremarkable life. The couple married on April 5, 1961. Dolly died 3 days later at the age of 81. Please visit www.ican'tbelieveitsnonfiction.com. And don't forget to subscribe.